We have primed the entire thing, and it looks fantastic. I absolutely love how this thing looks. It is amazing. Next step, we're gonna We're gonna paint and do the electronics, and we should be done. Shouldn't be too terrible. Let's get into it. Step one, of course, is to cover the entire thing in silver. I'm using Duplicolor metallic silver. Cover the whole thing. I prefer the automotive paints. They tend to be a little more durable, but it is what it is. I'm going to spray this. We'll be back in a minute. Look at that thing. That looks amazing. I absolutely love how this looks. God, it turned out great. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do is tape a couple things off. I know this knob's supposed to stay silver. This one's supposed to be silver, so we're going to tape them off. And I got big decisions to make on what I do and don't want to be silver or metallic or whatever. The biggest one being this heatsink on the side. On Spangler wand, it's not silver. I'm not sure if I want to keep that silver or not. But I think we're going to paint it. We're just going to do heavy weathering on it. And speaking of weathering, toothpaste. We went over this in the painting tutorial on the Spirit Pack. We're going to go over it again. I'm using toothpaste like masking fluid. All I'm doing, I prefer a hard brush for this, just I find it works better. And anywhere I think there's going to be wear, I apply some toothpaste. All this is going to do is prevent the paint to paint there. So once it's painted, and I'm going to do just a simple black matte primer. Let it dry for about an hour. Don't let it dry too much, of course. And then I am going to wash the whole thing off. That will give a really good weathered look to it. It gives you this, which looks amazing. So just anywhere you think. The reason I prefer this to dry brushing, and I'm going to dry brush too, is it's hard to put toothpaste into a crevice. It's easy to accidentally dry brush into a crevice though. So when I go over everything, like just aggressively, I mean I am not being gentle about this process at all. It's easier to make believable weathering. At least I think it is. The nice thing about this is it's my opinion. It's just an opinion. We're making stupid props together. Nobody has a right way to do this. Find a way that works for you. Find a way you like. And that's the right way. My paintbrush? This is a failed Din Djarin print. Like I said, I prefer hard surfaces to the soft ones as far as applying this goes, just because I feel it makes more realistic scrapes. So I'm going to finish this. I'm going to keep going over it. Any highlighted area I'm going to hit pretty well. Add some scratches here and there. And then I'm going to hit it with primer. It's just matte black primer. I'm going to let it dry overnight and then we'll pick it back up in there. So, cue the time lapse or whatever. I missed anything, I can always hit it with a little bit of dry brushing. But I think that's it. It's not terrible. It's not too much. It's not bad. So, black primer, give it an hour, then we're going to wash it off. Might bring you in for the washing it off part because it does look kind of cool. But right now, primer. It's been about half an hour, 20 minutes. The paint's fully dried. Well, not fully, but you know, enough. This is my favorite part. This is like magic. I think it's super cool. We are going to rinse off the paint we've just sprayed. Yeah. As soon as I get this stupid piece of tape off. Alright, there we go. So now we just rinse it off. Garbage scrubby. Trying to get watered down the tube. Or in it, I suppose. I guess it doesn't matter anymore. Nice part is if I'm a little rough and I scratch some of the paint off, the silver automotive underneath should absolutely cover it. I made fun of it the first time I did it. Thought it was the stupidest thing I'd done in ages. And then we got to this point and I was like, oh. Well, alright then. Maybe I'm the idiot. So, look at that. A little bit of texture everywhere. It's pretty alright. We're probably going to dry brush a couple of spots. So I don't like things like this is a weird scratch. I'm probably going to touch that up. Add a little bit more dirt and grime here and there. Because this is just scratches, right? There's no grime, there's no dirt. Let me reset the camera, bring you in close so you can see how this looks as soon as I get this. So, look at that. That's pretty neat. It's got lots of texture, lots of scratches. I'm really happy with it. I haven't decided whether I'm going to clear coat it or not. I don't know if it really needs it. We'll see. We'll see. Stupid thing was neatly put together a minute ago, but hey, let's start over, right? So the version of the Neutrona wand I printed has an opening that's too small to fit this power strip through, but it'll fit. Oh my goodness. Everything's all suddenly tangled. So we're going to start by taking all of the wires apart again. Which isn't that big of a deal, right? This is the original wand. And this is the two that came with the Frankengeek upgrade, which of course have tangled themselves eternally together. It's a lot of work for cupcakes. I legitimately tried this time. I had everything all set up, nice and neat, all ready to go. I'm like, I can just push record and we can do the thing, and it'll look cool. Now I'm tangled these two stupid cords, and I don't know how they actually got this entwined. Now, undo the bolt. I wonder if they're the same size. That'd be interesting. Also saved me a heck of a lot of time. Neat, same thread. So I'm feeding the button through first. And this one's labeled power because I don't want to get them confused. Of course, I don't have pliers. Why would I have pliers? That's just silly. I'll be right back. Okay, so that is on. Now I'm going to go through that and then have to undo everything because I had the on as the off. Pair of pliers. Let me tighten this puppy down. So I just turned the switch. So the light slightly turned and it met me. So I'm going to check it again. That's power. Okay. So I'm going to feed it through this connector piece, which is now conveniently covered with a piece of tape. Yay for cable management. And then through the other end, because it fits through the other end. So now I have to decide where I want the song. Because I'm going to have to drill that opening out. There's two switches, so I'll grab another switch. There's a bunch of them right here. One of these is just going to be a mock switch. Don't really do anything. This is a finished part, so I'm going to switch backwards. I'm going to drill it in reverse. Since it's PLA, it's not a problem. I want the song on the bottom. So we take the song, which is this one. Now it fits perfect. Now for my dummy switch. And of course, since I'm installing a switch, I'm going to double check that on is up and off is down. Yep. Perfect. We'll feed this one through. Neat. All right. So now we're going to deal with this stuff. And this is the original light kit and all that happy jazz. The biggest thing I'm curious about is this button. So I haven't decided whether I'm switching it or not. I'm probably going to switch it. The other problem is I'm not sure if I have enough wire here. Because they used exactly what they needed. The switch is interesting. It's got, oh, because it's got one leading to that. Got it. So the switches I'd like to use are these button switches, right? Same momentary switch as everything else. I always tell Faith, put things down when you're messing with stuff, because you're going to keep messing with stuff. Yes, that's how articulate I am with my daughter. While that heats up, I'm going to grab some wire and be right back. You know, like I don't have enough wire. Well, that was easy. This is not going to be my prettiest of welds, solders. Primarily because I'm not terribly worried. It can be inside a gun. So I'm not going to use a Moret. I'm going to actually put some heat shrink on this in a minute. They make specialty wire strippers for a finer gauge like this. I should invest in some because I do this stupid stuff all the time. Am I gonna? And again, because I'm in a testing kind of mood, I find the end. We'll test to make sure this works. That can't be good for you. There you go. So now we got to plug everything back in. Not everything. Just the wand. And a power switch. Put the thing you're holding down so you can focus with your other hand. Be cognizant of the hot iron right there. Most of this junk is for me. And the stuff going on in my head. It works. Now that I know it works, makes me much happier. But we are going to cluster through this process together. First thing I'm going to do is take this the beam and fit it into this cap. This cap is going into this piece of clear PEX. Fits in pretty nicely. We're going to embiggen this hole a bit. And that's about right. And then hot glue that in place. There is no easy or right way of doing this. Do not drill your fingers. So I want this barely sticking out. So we're going to hot glue a bit of hot glue. Shove this thing through. The goal is that when it does its thing, it'll lay the tube up a little bit. Probably not too terribly much, but just enough. Shut this off. Move it out of the way. Unplug this. Now we're going to go one step at a time. Like now, yeah, all right, whatever. Going to feed everything through the barrel. I do not need nearly this much wire connected. So where's my cap? Let's go. Yeah, that should be more than enough. He says confidently. I always tell Faith, make sure you clean as you go, right? Because it's important. It makes your job easier. And for once, I'm going to follow my own advice. So we are going to need these wires for a bit. And this will prevent them from tangling to the point that I have to fight with it. Like a tool using primate, I learned from my mistakes. Neat. Alright. I'm going to feed all this through the wand. With luck, it fits. They say things like, why is it always so damn difficult to do something simple? And the answer is because I made it as difficult as I needed it to be. It's all me. There's a simple, easy, efficient way of doing this. This is not it. This is not the efficient, simple show. This is the watch Hawkfuck mess with the thing until he gets mad show. Just a single nut. Nice and light. Should be easy to feed in. Look at that. Like we planned it. How fantastic is that? Luckily, this end, the one I added, is rigid enough to just go through. He says confidently. They should just friction fit real good on this stupid thing. That ain't going nowhere. I may add another LED or two in here. I have not decided yet. What I do know I'm adding, heat shrink over these. He thought I forgot. I thought I forgot too. Let's just use a stupid heat gun. I always fight with that thing. And that is the reason the heat gun is out. Added a ton of outlets over here when I built this stupid little area, and I'm like, that's so much power, it's way more than there was. Never need more than that. I've seen a lot of people use lighters for heat shrink tubing. I don't know why, it just bothers me. Really, really bothers me. And I guess there's nothing wrong with it, it's just, you know, it's 2020. 2021. Use the tools we have. Alright. We will need this in a little bit. I need a bigger workspace is what I need. I guess we all need a bigger workspace in the end, huh? Alright, this is just going to get fed back through. But first, let's feed the wand part. Nice thing about using stronger gauge wire, it will hold its shape and tangle the mess. There we go. So in theory we can start closing some of this stuff up. Now wait, I want to test everything first. But we're going to close up one place. This channel here can now be fully closed. 2 bolts, 2 nuts, and then this plate. These screws are way longer than they need to be. But I didn't have the part with me to measure everything, and I just kind of guessed. I'd rather guess too large than too small. other bolt, which I just had. And too close to the edge, so it doesn't want to thread at all. This is going to be interesting. Watch a guy play with nuts on his lap on YouTube. Alright, we're probably going to have to drill this one out a little bit. Angle it a bit more. But until then, we can take care of this one. So I have 2 blue and a yellow. I think I want the trigger button, the fire, to be yellow. So first thing I want to make sure it fits. So I believe I have to bend these to get them in right. Because they just barely don't want to fit. Almost. Perfect. So in this one I'm going to take off way more casing than I need. Because I'm going to feed it through. These posts have little holes. Putting the heat shrink tubing on first. Way easier than trying to fit it over. Alright. So what I did. Twist the wire to make sure it's all like one wire, so it functions as one wire. Thread it through this little hole, through the little hole, about halfway, probably about closer to 2/3. Pull it down, wrap it around itself. Then I'm going to solder it in place. This goes over, and then we're going to heat shrink these 2 tubes. This heat shrink tubing's a little too big, but you know, it's what I got, so it's what I'm using. Let's see if we can feed the button back through. This may need to be sanded, because it doesn't look like it wants to fit. But this cap is just going to go on right there, as soon as I sand it. Now we should be able to plug everything in, test it out, see how everything looks. Oh, since we're here. Decent amount of hot glue. Put the cap on. Is it perfect? No. But I like it. We're going to plug everything in real quick. So my camera seems to want to not be running. Going to plug everything in. Make sure it all still works. Why not? Let's see. It's all about to get fed down a long tube. I am my own worst enemy. Alright, we'll go power and song. There we go. I knew that was going to do it. That works. Alright then. Everything still works. Now for the fun part. Feeding all of that through this stupid tube. Since I have a bunch of extra wire, we're going to use the extra wire. Need a bit of weight. What's heavy? Oh, the burden of life. That's a bit too heavy. Bit sounds good. It's pointed, so it should go down easier. That sounded way more inappropriate than I intended. So, to get this length, all I did was take the original one off and look at that. Fish tape. Neat, huh? Now we're going to untape everything. Straighten out all my cords. Try and group them together. Feed them through. New battery. Let's see if that helps. Alright. So this is what we call overkill. My fish tape, everything's wrapped around it, taped in place. So now you carefully feed this through. Nice and easy. Right at the end. Here's my tape. For some reason it doesn't want to come through anymore. It's just being difficult. Go nice and slow. Nice and easy. Don't pull. Give it a little more extra. There it goes. Okay, so I like this design because it seemed to thread in pretty well. Now that I'm at the point where it's going to thread in, it doesn't want to. So before I get too far and accidentally pull something through I don't want to, I'm going to tape these together. That way I can ignore the end and not worry about it. Now we feed this end through the motherboard. Through the proton pack. First thing we're going to do though, stop. Clean everything up, come back in a minute. All we do is feed everything through this hole here. And this is actually pretty difficult to wind through because this tubing is just a hair too big. Find where it starts and just kind of work it around. Careful not to pinch the wires. First time I tried to do this, I tried threading it through. Well, of course it'll work. No, it didn't work. Didn't work at all. Gave me nothing but problems. So you got to put it in a good 1.5 inches, almost 2 inches. And I found working in a circular motion tends to help. Again, being very careful not to pinch the wires. This is the same screw that went into this hole in the first place when the original wand was on. I always seem to make things harder on myself than I need to. Not because I want to, just because I do. Alright, let's wire this puppy up. Luckily I know the one that has tape on it is the power button. And without the tape is the song. The spirit wand is the spirit wand. Alright, before we get too far, I'm closing this thing up. This should be the last time I have to take the back off. It's probably not, but it should be. Alright, put the Alice frame back on. Center everything up. Put my retaining screw back in. And we are going to be done for today. All right. So, let's see where we're at. Power. Yeah, power. A little bit of soundtrack. About as much of that as we can do. And then fire. Not bad. So I need to put a wire from here to here. The little green loop. I need to put a wire on the banjo. And then we're going to do the wood grips. I want to save the wood grips and the V-clip for last. Just because on the forums, those are the questions people have the most questions about. So we're going to save those for last. It's an easy build. So far it's fun. Nothing's too crazy. It does the things. I'm very, very happy with it. So go bust some ghosts. I'll see you next time.